The chemistry between them is just undeniable, and that's just what makes Rush, Rush, bar none. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lowell University. In this week's video, I'll be covering Freewill by Rush. This is off of their 1980 album, Permanent Waves. And if you know anything about me, Geddy Lee is one of my favorite bass players of all time. Highly influential to me growing up. And I just want to be Geddy Lee when I grow up. That's a fact. This is a great Rush track. I think it embodies everything that's awesome about Rush. The instrumentation, the orchestration. This is off of a great record. You know, that string of albums in the early 80s were just some of Rush's best records. Moving Pictures, obviously, is what I got into first around that time. And there's a lot to talk about here, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into some of the cool stuff going on in this track. We'll be watching a live video from a 2007 concert, I think in the Netherlands, on the Snakes and Arrows tour. So let's jump in. This is Freewill by Rush. God, look at that crowd. The chicken. Look at the rotisserie chicken on the stage. Let's talk about this opening riff. Freewill, so we're in the key of F. I've obviously heard this song before. I've never seen this particular video or this tour. And I know they used washing machines and dryers on stage for a while, and then they had the rotisserie chickens going, which is cool. I'm not even sure what they do with them. They've got to be real chickens. I've honestly never really read about that. I've never seen Rush live in person. And I had the chance to see them about 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe 2016, 2015. I was invited to go. I said, no, I can't make it this time. I'll catch them next time. And there was never a next time. So I'm forever going to lose sleep over that. But this opening riff is what I love about Rush. You know, the vocal melody and the bass line are kind of synonymous. And one of my favorite things about Geddy's bass lines is that you can usually always sing them. When it's one of those like crucial melodies going on in the song, there's always so much melody in what he plays. And that was highly inspirational to me as a bass player. We're starting off here in the key of F. Not in the key of F, but we're based around the F note as the root. I believe this is an F Lydian, so it's the 4th mode, so we're actually in the key of C major. If you just play the C major scale, but start on F and end on F, you have a Lydian scale. So, oops. So, sharp 4, we're on the B natural. Normally in F major, you have the B flat, but we're using the B natural here. It's the raised 4. So this is in the key of C. And I've worked a little bit on my Geddy tone here. I think he's one of the toughest bass players to emulate the tone, and so much of it has to do with the way he plays and his technique, and we'll get to that shortly, but let's keep going. That guy's loving it. The late Neil. Look at that drum set. God. So you can kind of see the way he plays. He doesn't have like a traditional, you know, textbook correct technique. You know, he's not going. He's, you know, his thumb's kind of over the board a lot. You can kind of see it there. He's really digging into the strings. And if you're trying to achieve the Geddy tone, it is so much to do with the way he's hitting those strings. He is slamming them. He's almost hitting them so hard, they're buzzing on the frets. They're really almost fretting out. Again, I kind of put together a Geddy tone here, and I got it as close as I can. He obviously is known for using Rickenbacker, mostly a Fender Jazz these days. That's his signature jazz Fender bass there, which is obviously passive. I'm playing active pickups, so I can't quite get that warmness, but I mean, it's not... it is very neck pickup heavy. I don't know really if there's any much bridge pickup in here. And if I roll to the bridge pickup, you can see how it just loses that entire warmness. So that's not it. So I'm all neck pickup here. Lots of compression, some drive, and I believe he's doing kind of the same thing as a lot of bass players with that really complex tone where they're kind of bi-amping. You got one signal going out to a clean, kind of sub-warm, low end, and you're kind of driving the top end. I know he has a signature Sansamp pedal now. I have no idea what he used on the record. It's actually, the jury's still out on what bass he used on Permanent Waves. I've seen things saying it was a Jazz, a 69 or a 70 Jazz. I've seen things saying it was a Rickenbacker. And the more and more I look, the more and more uncertain it is. But yeah, big part of the Geddy tone, hitting those strings. And sometimes he plays right over actually the neck here. And he uses that index finger a lot. I don't really see him doing two fingers a lot unless it's like a fast passage, but really driving it. And a lot of people say let your fingernail kind of hit the string to really, almost like a pick, which I just trim mine, so I can't really do that. But that is a huge part of getting that sound. So this changes keys here. We're starting off in F, Lydian, which is in the key of C major. And then we kind of have this pre-chorus that's kind of going down chromatically. Kind of going like a B minor tonality. It's not really diminished per se. Kind of B minor, and then it goes down to more like a B flat major kind of thing. So, and I don't want to get too much into the theory of why this is. Something I've learned is that theory is great to go back and understand what's going on, but it doesn't always really tell you why. And I'll talk about that here in a minute because it goes to sort of B flat, E flat thing here. But when we get to the chorus, it goes to D major. So technically it's going up a whole step. Up a whole step. But we're in D major now. Whereas before we were in C. And they do it pretty smooth, and there's really no like smooth jazz sort of modulation. They just jump into D major, and then when the chorus is over, they jump right back into the F Lydian or the C major. But I also don't want to miss the time signatures here. Obviously, if we go back to the sort of that beginning riff, it pretty much alternates between a 6 and a 7. So you can kind of think of it like a huge bar of 13/4. That's a little heady for me, so I'm just going to say kind of alternating 6, or you can say it's in 6/4 with an extra beat, but I'll kind of count it out for you. And another thing about Rush, they make those key changes and honestly meter changes so smooth. I never really noticed the time signature changes in the times I've heard this track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe an extra beat there. And the interplay between Neil and Geddy is just paramount on every record. It's like every little hit was thought out. You don't improvise and land those hits that exact. And this entire song, if you just really listen to those fills, the drums and the bass are just like right on the same wavelength. And that's just always blown me away that Geddy can sing and then do that, but then stray away from that and have so much melody, but just nail the drum hits. I mean, it's like the chemistry between them is just undeniable, and that's just what makes Rush, bar none. tight. See, just right back into C major. It's smooth. What is all that? I don't know. Let me bring you back right here. So this is, I want to talk a little bit about technique. You know, if a student came to me as a beginner and was playing bass and had their hand like that, my initial reaction would be to go, hey, your technique's a little incorrect. You know, the thumb should be kind of on the back. Your fingers should be more up like this. You shouldn't be kind of grabbing the neck like a baseball bat. But there's the whole other side that technique really doesn't matter at all. And a lot of new players get caught up on, I can't progress unless I have the perfect technique. And I have a book on technique. I talk about it in every video because there's some point to bring that up. And go buy it if you want to learn. But there's a limit there that if your playing is awesome and your technique just doesn't look like what it should, it doesn't matter. Now, if a student came to me and was playing like that and I could hear obvious roadblocks in their sound, whether they couldn't reach a note quick enough, or they were just buzzing out, or they weren't fretting it all the way, then I would intervene and say, hey, maybe change your hand position to be more like this. But something to remember is that if you're happy with your sound, and as a bonus, other people are too. If you think your playing is great, if other people think your playing is great, and you have really weird technique, then you have perfect technique. Don't ever forget that. You know, guys like Marty Friedman, he's known for just a very bizarre picking technique. You know, he used to play guitar in Megadeth, and now he's in Japan doing his own thing. Famous guitar player. I'm sure you've heard of him, but go watch his pick technique. It doesn't look like everyone else's. So what? He's a legend. So remember that. Technique is just kind of like the bumpers on a bowling lane alley, just to kind of steer you in the right direction. But if you're nailing it with your own technique, don't worry too much about it. There's things about my technique that aren't traditionally correct, a few things, but trying to change them, I think would, backpedal my playing a little bit. So I just roll with it, and everyone learns differently. But, Geddy Lee is a prime example of that. They got to build that drum set around them. Long live Neil, man. Listen how intentional that is. It's like every note is perfectly synced with the drums. I love it. Gosh. You can see right there, he's just all index finger. Most bass players might play that line like, but he's really digging in on that one finger. That is such a Geddy Lee thing. You can see it right here. All one finger. Yeah, kind of out of key there. If I got that right, it's kind of like... I think they're kind of going from like a D to an F to a B flat to an E flat. It almost kind of has that descending circle of fifths thing. Not quite there, but again, why do they play a B flat? Why are they playing an E flat? There's really, there isn't really any reason. A lot of times people write songs and they just, we're in the key of C major and they just throw in a random F sharp major because it sounds good, and that really is all the justification you need. If I were to go back and analyze why, well, in E flat, they're playing E flat major against C major and D major, so I could say we're in C major, and now they're playing E flat major, which is borrowing a major third from another key. You could say they change keys for one bar, but it kind of builds some tension and drives it back to this next part. So again, theory is important to go back and learn the what's going on, but it doesn't always really tell you the why, and maybe there really isn't ever a why. Maybe it just sounded good to the artist. So something to think about. Oh yeah, this crazy bass break. Look how hard he's hitting the strings. Ooh, love this. That's another thing about Rush. Sometimes it's like, okay, this is obviously setting up for guitar solo, but is it a guitar solo? Because it's kind of like a bass solo. They're both playing solos at the same time. And the openness of that power trio 3-piece setup is that the bass can go off and do its thing, and the guitar has the solo. But so much of the coolest stuff Geddy plays is usually under the guitar solos. He's just going for it. It's all over the place. There's chromatic stuff. There's those little rhythmic grooves. And that's a very staple kind of Geddy thing. He does that a lot. Does it in Limelight. That was kind of where my ear was first drawn to that. And it's so tight, and he has this just really burpy percussive way he plays. I always thought of Rush as like the major key PG-13 version of Tool. Tool came along, and there's so many parallels between the two bands, and it's probably why I like them so much. Rush also flips the instrumentation around. Sometimes the bass is the lead, sometimes the bass is the melody, the drums. Sometimes, Neil's doing like little marimba things. The guitar can be really atmospheric, like it is during these pre-choruses, and the bass is taking the melody. Tool does these same things. That's why I was so gravitated to Tool, because I had already been listening to Rush, and Tool was like a darker rated R version or something. So, and obviously Danny Carey talks a lot about Neil Peart's influence on him. So yeah, there's some great parallels between these two bands. Oh, look at that. Love it, man. He's just going for it. Again, this is almost a bass solo with the guitar soloing behind it. I mean, it's incredible. He's just going for it. What a badass. Something I want to point out too, the last video I did was Dirty Loops, and great band if you haven't checked them out. Go watch that video. Henrik Linder's the bass player. He takes a solo in the song and puts a lot of space into it, and I was kind of applauding that when you take a bass solo or like a bass feature, it's good to put some breaks in there, give it some rest, do a little lick, wait a couple bars, build up to something else. Geddy really doesn't ever do that. Like, there is no resting in what he's playing. Every note is played. There's constant playing. Constant, all 8th notes with 16th notes, triplets in there. But the format of a power trio allows you to have the space to do that, whereas like Dirty Loops is like really dense. And I think that's a big part of why Rush can sound so big as 3 people, because they're filling all the space in that way. There's always something going on. Geddy is never leaving anything open. There's not this like open breathing atmosphere. It's really powerful. It's like, how big can we make it with 3 people? And a huge part of that is because all of his bass breaks and trying to fill in the space when a guitar chord isn't going on because Alex is taking a solo, he can just really fill that space with all sorts of stuff. It's just great. Listen, he never stops. Going. Smooth. I'm so mad I could never see Rush live. every fill is intentional. This stuff blows me away. I think I've researched enough Rush. I don't recall remembering they went to music school or anything like that. They were just guys that kind of created something from nothing. And they ended up being the best at their craft in a lot of circles. I mean, it's pretty unanimous worldwide that these guys are like the best at what they do. And it's just like they all three, it's like, this is what happens when everybody's the best member of the band. It's really crazy. They didn't have a Berklee education and come out and just have all this classical theory. They just, like, the music they were writing was the school. That was their music school. You can just tell. You start off listening to that first album, it's more rock, it's basic, and then they get really out there. They write harder and harder stuff, but it's never like just for the sake of being difficult. It's always so smooth. Again, Freewill, there's a lot of meter changes going on here. I didn't really know it until I read it. And sure, if I'd really tried to count it out, I'd realize, okay, there's like an extra beat, 6 and 7. But they always made it about the melody, the accessibility. This is like a perfect mainstream rock song with a few twists and turns, but it's packaged in like a really well-written song. And Rush were always about that. They were able to just blend virtuosity with great songwriting, great melodies. And, that's why they're legends. That's absolutely all there is to it. I always like that. If you choose to not decide, you've still made a choice. That's profound stuff. I just now noticed those dinosaurs up there. How nerdy and how awesome. That is incredible. Look at that. My son would love that. He's 5 and he's really into dinosaurs. I got to show him this. I need to show him Rush more too. Heck yeah. So there you have it. Freewill by Rush. This was recorded live in 2007 from the Snakes and Arrows tour. There's a lot of Freewill live videos, but this one you could really hear the bass. Obviously, it's very high quality. It's more modern. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I want to be Geddy Lee when I grow up. I think he just has such a unique style. You can hear it just cutting through on anything he plays. He's a hell of a front man. He can sing and play, and like he's kind of a phenomenon. Like singing and playing guitar, strumming chords and singing, I can kind of get that down, but playing these like intricate bass lines, it rubs because you're thinking more melodically when you sing and you're trying to play more rhythmically. And it's just I don't have that synapse in my brain. It's just unbelievable. And just what a legacy this band has had. I just still lose a lot of sleep that I said, no, I don't want to go see them live. I don't think I can make it. And there will never be a next time, at least for this format. And what an incredible song. I think this, again, once again embodies everything amazing about Rush. Accessibility, melody, good vocals, but just buried under that is just so much nuance and headiness and musicianship. And I glean so much of Geddy's style in my own playing, and I'm forever grateful for that. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, give it one click, comment, let me know where you've seen Rush live, what your favorite Rush songs are. There's so much of their discography I've really never listened to. There's so much. They have so many albums. And, I like what I like, but I need to go back and check out a lot of stuff. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and please make sure you're subscribed. And all hail Rush. We'll see you next week. Thank you.